Over the past few days, the Twitch streamer Asmongold, who built his following through World of Warcraft streams and the founder of OTK and various other connected brands, has been embroiled in one of the biggest controversies of his entire career. Earlier in the week, footage leaked of an Israeli strike which hit tents outside providing critical support to patients. I can't show you that footage, but it is absolutely horrific as you see patients with IVs still in their arms as fire consumes those tents. But the footage prompted widespread backlash and one of the most significant shifts in the already harrowing coverage of Israel's actions in Gaza. Now, Asmongold, Zach Hoyt, has a history of saying crazy shit, stirring controversy, but it's seen an enormous uptake in the past few years. And when asked on stream about the situation, he said this.
No, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them. You know what else is disgusting? That people in the West that enjoy more privileges and freedom than anywhere else in the world romanticize their behavior or their lifestyle as anything other than barbaric. Thank God I was born.
Now that clip is obviously insane and fucking disgusting and literal Nazism. Like, I have no quarter for anybody who's like, oh, you know, he's making some good points. Oh, they deserve to be genocided because they're from an inferior culture. Oh, okay, dumb fuck. I'm sorry, you are a bad person if you believe they deserve to be genocided because they're from an inferior culture. Like, I'm not gonna mince words about that shit. And it prompted obvious, widespread backlash across the internet. I mean, everybody clocked this and said it was insane. Even with some of the contrarians who usually agree with Asmon calling him out, with Asmon probably seeing the writing on the wall enough to go on a stream and chat with Hasan Piker on the issue.
Okay, real quick. You don't think that I support Israel, do you?
I don't, but I think
Okay,
that...
good.
No, I don't think you support Israel, but I think you saying that like Palestinians are immoral or evil or have an evil, antiquated culture or are barbaric is not only ahistorical. What's up?
I do think that. How can you be in support of a culture that tells people that they can't be who they want to be? And I think that any culture and any type of government that is derivative of a religion is fundamentally inferior.
I think you are misunderstanding what their culture is, what the Palestinian culture is, and you're also not setting the standard under the material conditions in which they exist.
But would you come to the same conclusion that basing decisions off of that religion and making laws based off of that religion is a bad thing?
Yeah, of course. I don't. What do you mean?
Okay.
I don't agree in theocracy at all. There's a difference between simply monolithizing an entire religion versus people who are championing religion, Islam in this case, to meet their own authoritarian governance demands. A lot of people don't like the way that their government operates. There are gay Muslims, there are queer Muslims,
but wouldn't that mean that it would be inferior? Or,
no, I wouldn't say that any culture is inferior to one another. I would, however, say that especially
now, this was a back and forth that lasted about 3 hours with Hasan, who, yes, has his own issues, fucking mentioned the hypocrisy head-ass comments. Shut up. And it ended without really much accountability from Asmongold about the severity of the issue. And when he finally did apologize in a tweet, his apology was like, oops, my bad. Oh my God. I did a Nazi? So silly. Which did not help and made headlines and inspired more backlash, and ultimately resulted in Asmongold getting a 14-day ban from Twitch on his Zach Roar channel. Now, yesterday, Asmongold was pretty silent, and the general consensus was he's probably going to do what he always does, right? Brush his shoulders off like everybody was overreacting, I just misspoke, and go back to the same old shit. Oh, look, Tub Stream doing metaphor, or he's gonna go to Kick or some shit. Many people saying 14 days is a slap on the wrist. It's not gonna fix this, and me recording an entire fucking video that I had to delete because Asmongold responded with a video entitled My Plans for the Future and a tone I don't think anybody was expecting.
My problem and my fault here was that I was making a criticism of religious extremism, and I made no effort. And I feel like almost, I've rewatched the clip, right, or a number of the clips, and it's like I've almost made an effort not to draw a distinction between the two things. Whenever I categorize everybody in the area as this, like, group, then I'm the asshole. And I was the asshole. I had a lot of you guys tell me that. This has been going on now for like 2 years. I think that I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited, I don't really even know what the word is for it. Just like the most mean-spirited, rude, like nasty, like just callous, psychopathic version of myself. I think that I've been devolving into this. There have been ways that I've communicated and ways that I've acted that are indefensible. And I think it's, looking back on it, it's just disgusting. And it's something that when you get lost in the sauce and you get fixated around like listening and reading feedback and, you know, just getting hyper fixated, this is like your entire life, you lose a perspective on reality. And I feel so stupid. It's crazy. So I'm getting all these people making negative comments toward me. Everybody is telling me like, oh, go kill yourself, I hate you, everything like this. Do you know who reached out to me? And they wanted to talk and have a conversation and see if I was okay. It's people that were Islamic and people that had fucking family in Palestine. And how humiliating is that? How absolutely humiliating is that? And these were the people I was trying to say were bad. And I feel like such a fucking stupid asshole.
Wow, that was good. In a wild turn of events, Asmongold actually took accountability in that apology. And listen, there have been a ton of YouTube apologies over the years. I can just come on here and say, hey, everybody, I wanted to come on here and address some of what's been going on. And you would be like, oh my God, what's been going on? But there was something different about this one.
Really, I think that opinion is definitely shaped by the media that I've created, and the media I've created for myself, and then also just the media that exists, the media that I've chosen to seek out as well. And I think that media has allowed me to have certain predispositions and certain biases that the truth is that don't have any sort of relation to what my own real life has been experienced. I've been spending a lot of time talking to those people, and I've seen people like fans of mine, like I had viewers messaging me on Discord, like, you know, why are you saying this? Like, do you want to talk? Do you want to, like, you know, I'm willing to talk to you, and like, you know, like, let's try to work this out, right? We love you. And I scrolled up on their messages, and these are people that messaged me in like 2016, 2017, 2018, like, I love your content, I love your stream, I love you, right? And now they get to hear this from me, and I just feel like such a stupid, belligerent fucking asshole. I really do, and I'm sorry.
In the standard YouTube apology format template, fuck, there's a template, the tone is usually, I misspoke, but I'm a fucking good person, all right? I said some bad things. I didn't know that oops, I didn't, but I'm a fucking good person, okay? You just caught me at a time when I'm not a fucking good person. Just like, my bad, I'll learn, but I'm a fucking good person. And often that feels disingenuous. I mean, yeah, you misspoke, but you still did it. Meanwhile, Asmongold's apology was, hey, I was a shitty person. I have sucked recently for years, and everybody has told me, and I haven't fucking listened to them. And the people who I was shitting on were the first people to reach out to me and make sure that I was okay. I am embarrassed that I put them in the crosshairs of some of the most heinous shit I said. I was fucking wrong. And that is a lot different of framing than what most other creators tend to do. Like Phil apologizing about that music. You don't have to apologize to me. We both know. Music and news, it's not gonna work. But the difference is it feels more like the person is actually reassessing the gravity of their actions and trying to work on themselves. And Asmongold genuinely seemed fucked up by what he did. Like he seemed really like upset about how he acted. Now, generally and initially, the apology on X was well received, with people like Omni saying, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Asmongold's apology video was really good. I feel like he's being sincere and honest about his own self-reflection and touching grass in order to experience life and people. I don't think everybody will forgive him, but I genuinely hope he grows from this. And even Hasan Piker on his stream feeling like, hey, wow, it seems like he's trying to be sincere and learn from this. But look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it's all sunshine and roses, all right? That didn't stop issues from his comments screaming at him to never apologize. And Asmongold still had to step away from his duties at Starforge and OTK, both of those organizations issuing lengthy statements about their stance on discrimination and hate speech, but both saying the decision to split at the moment was amicable. And look, there are a few more developments that I'll mention in a little bit, but real quickly, I want to take a look at a couple things surrounding the video. And I think there's a lot to be said about the way Islamophobia, hateful rhetoric, and just toxic culture can metastasize in your audience or in media audiences and lead to situations advocating Nazism or something close to it. Like I said, I recorded a whole breakdown and reaction to the situation in frustration because I am Muslim. And hearing that really brought me back to some really fucked up times in American politics. Not gonna lie, I heard a lot of that rhetoric or the insinuations of that rhetoric during the Iraq War, post 9/11. And I can tell you from that perspective, I haven't really heard that kind of accountability before. My favorite comic book artist growing up was Frank Miller, right? I loved Sin City. I loved The Dark Knight Returns. Did not love Holy Terror. Let me tell you. It was a super aggressive Islamophobic screed with Amazon Basics, Batman, and Catwoman, killing Muslims who Miller assumes in the book are all secret terrorists who hate Western civilization. And look, Miller later on admitted a bit of fault and said that the book was fueled by a mix of his addiction and depression. But even his apology didn't go so far as to address how poisoned he was to think people like me are barbarians hiding in your walls to try to destroy America. Like I have a My Hero Academia poster on my wall, bro. Like, what the fuck? And I am not gonna lie, as a Muslim who is super not a fan of Asmongold and a lot of his petty takes over the last few years, hearing this was sincerely refreshing. This part of it, we will get to everything else. But somebody understanding after saying that and feeling embarrassed that they didn't recognize they were othering us, I'll be honest, I feel othered a lot in politics, especially during election years. Oh my God, election years are like shit Christmas. And nowadays I hear a lot of very specific types of people talk to me about Gaza like a fucking token, or use Islam like an attack on liberals and the left, or something to own maggots and the alt-right. So I'll be real, that felt sincere. But I think it's important to say it's hard not to remain skeptical of apologies like this when the audience is what it is. Asmongold over the last few years has cultivated a very specific audience of people who get really angry about diversity in games. They say it's forced diversity, but it seems to always hit on just diversity. And a lot of his audience are continuing to defend his position on the comments he made when even Asmongold himself finds it indefensible. And that choice of them doing that feels antisocial. And I think it brings up a huge issue where we are in culture that I wanted to bring up on the video that I made yesterday. People who feel their lack of participation in something that is widely adopted is somehow evidence that they are more intelligent or wise or better than everybody else. And that includes empathy outside your bubble. And you'll find that in a lot of new age atheists who are like,
I don't believe in the invisible man in the sky, so everything I say is logical and enlightened.
and fucking know. That doesn't predispose you to wisdom, my guy. Look, you aren't a genius because you're not religious, right? And you don't have more perspective because you never played or watched a sport, but you read a Christopher Hitchens book. And you aren't more informed or a critical thinker because you're an antisocial, blunt asshole. That just makes you an asshole. Like, I've met so many people who act like that's their special sauce, but I have never met anybody with long-term success who's like been doing well for like a minute who has that attitude about them. Like, at any level, no long-term success of anybody who has thought that way. It ruins relationships and opportunities and stands out but bleeds your money and traps you later on down the line for 99% of people. And it feels like Asmongold had that audience. Like, right, like people who are saying like never apologize ever. Never apologize to the mob. What are you, fucking Roy Cohn? Asmongold's comment section is filled with justification for things it feels the rest of society is condemning and they feel proud and intelligent for. And as abhorrent as that is, or them trying to explain it away, if there's a canary in the coal mine in this situation, it's been sitting behind Asmongold for 2+ years.
And I want to live my life. And I'm going to try to, like, I don't know, like, clean up part of my house. I'm going to try to do this, and I'm not going to hire a cleaner. As I said, I was raised Roman Catholic. I view this as a penance. And I think I need to do this for myself. I need to take accountability for bad things that I've done and for letting my life get this out of control.
Asmongold, for years, has been criticized for not like taking care of himself or like cleaning his room. And it's not like a little like spruce up clean. He lives in Marie Kondo nightmare fuel, okay? Not everybody has the wherewithal to know they're in a bad situation like that until it's all around them. I had a father who was an addict who died last year from that addiction. And I will be honest with you, remove like 6 cups from this room and it has striking similarities to where my father died. And obviously the environment you live in and environments like that lead to sincere, fucked up, toxic issues. I've been a mainstay in esports culture and all of that for a while, okay? I know where that lack of self-care can get you and how it can affect your life. I've also seen the way the industry tends to co-opt it. Turn your frustrations about your life and self-worth and value and push them into darker, more fucking antagonistic, fucked up places. Don't apologize to them and say, you did nothing wrong. You're speaking the truth. They're just pussies, even though you said they deserve to be genocided because they're an inferior culture. Like, that's, bro, or that you don't care that they're being like, that's still bad. Also, those rabbit holes are not exclusive to the right either. Mans keeps crashing out. When Asmongold finally did take accountability, it took a few hours of people jumping on him like, hey, why are you giving in to the mob? Why are you apologizing? For him to post on Reddit and use a slur within the first 4 words to be like, hey, see guys, it's me. I'm the guy. Still trying to hedge it like, hey, what I said was fucked up and I'm not happy and I'm going to be more positive and less mean-spirited from now on. But also saying shit like he'll react to DEI equals die videos and kind of dog whistling a lot of the behavior that led to that negativity in the first place. Yeah, it's easy for people to go, well, he's fucking terrible and he deserves it. And of course he never changed, but it's a lot harder with us to deal with the contradiction. Then maybe he did have some sincere changes there, but he also has another very visceral, toxic side pulling at him. Or that he maybe just missed the forest for the trees. And one of the things I constantly say here is like propaganda affects everything. In presidential campaigns and years, you are always being spun. I see a lot of people feel like they're above ever getting hit by spin, right? But then criticize their political opponents as falling for it. You're doing it now, aren't you? You're like literally right now you're doing it. Cut it out. Cut it out. I'm not surprised that people agreed with Asmongold's horrendous rhetoric when he made it, because I've heard that shit my whole life and dog whistles and media everywhere. And if we want explicit calls or hints at political violence or accelerationism or your culture is inferior, commence genocide to end, if we want that shit deaded, we got to kill the rabbit hole that precedes it. And doing that means that as a culture across every political spectrum, you have to sometimes admit you are out of your depth, even when you don't think you are. Sometimes you are not a reliable narrator. Sometimes you should apologize. Sometimes you're a dick. And sometimes people can be all things: sorry, problematic, worthy of forgiveness, and canceled. But I don't want to revel in this dude's misfortune or beef with people in his comments. I want Islamophobia to end. Like, that's what hit me, was the Islamophobia and the hateful rhetoric of it all. And in order to do that, nuance needs to happen, or we'll be back to 2003, where the blunt, blatant, black and white take a lot of people had was the barbarians are at the gates, and it's me with my My Hero Academia poster in the I don't know if it's going to focus on it. Sorry, Frank. But anyway, that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll have to see what being positive means for Zach Hoyt, and if he really does do the work. I hope he does, but let me know where you stand on it. Obviously, some people are going to be more lenient. Some people are like, that's a step too far for me. But let's have a civil discussion about it. And that's our show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, give a lot of love to Mewdeline, who is my partner, who decided to deal with our cat that was screaming outside of the door the entire time I was recording this. We played with you, Snake. Cut it the fuck out. My name is Tabani. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Let's go!